Lectio D.
Hey guys, Lectio Divina. Are you doing it next week or the week after in community groups? Lectio is something that was started by some monks somewhere in the Middle Ages, and I think it's really helpful because it just captures something about God's Word that we don't often think about, which is that it's His Word and it's designed to speak to us and we're meant to hear His voice in it. So it's often easy just to try and deconstruct it or to make sense of the big point, and those are all good things and right things to do, but sometimes as well it's actually just good to let Him speak and to hear His voice. And Lectio is designed to try and help us to do that. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but it'll take a little bit of explanation from you and a process to follow to kind of make it work. The way I like to do it, and a way I think it works quite well, is to do the following. I explain to the group what Lectio is. So I say to them it's a way of reading the Bible which is focusing on hearing God's voice in a small amount of text, hearing what He has to say to me in that moment from the text that He has. And I invite them to pray for probably 2 minutes, just to clear their minds, their thoughts, to invite God to come and speak to them, to ask for His stillness and His presence. I then read the text, whatever the text is, a couple of verses or perhaps a psalm or whatever it is that you're using out loud, and they know that they're just listening to hear what it is that strikes them, what stands out to them. Once I get to the end of the first reading, I go back, I read it all again, and at the end of the second reading I give them a minute to just think about it, to reflect on it. What is it that strikes me from the text? What stands out to me? What is it that God's drawing to light from this text for me? I'm not trying to unpack it, I'm just trying to focus on what it is that stands out to me. At the end of that minute, I time it, I read the text a third time, and then I invite people to go around the circle one by one, just articulating out loud what's the verse or the phrase that stands out to them. They just say it, they don't have to say anything more, they just say the word, the phrase, the verse, and we move on. I read it again a fourth time, and then I tell people you've got 2 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes, and during that time I want you to ask the question, why do I need to hear this from God right now? Or perhaps another question, what would change in my life if I really believe this to be true? And you spend that time reflecting. People can write, if it's helpful for them, write something down or just reflect in their heads. At the end of that 2 to 3 minutes, I say to people, we're going to pray just a very short responsive prayer, maybe 1 line, maybe 2 lines of response, going around the circle in the same way we did beforehand. And once everyone's prayed, I then read the text a 5th time, and usually I'll close with a prayer to finish up. That's it. It's pretty simple, but I've found that when I do it with people, it really helps to get people to engage with what God's got for them at that particular point.